Good afternoon. I'm Charmaine Colvin, and you are listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. On India this week, an Indian university has courted controversy at the AI summit in Delhi this week after an official claimed that a Chinese-made robotic dog was its own invention. The incident came to light after a professor from Galgotius University told state-run broadcaster DD News that the robot named Orion was developed at their Centre of Excellence. A video of her remarks went viral. Online users later identified the machine as the go-to model made by Chinese firm Unitree Robotics, which is commercially available starting at about £1,600. In a statement on Wednesday, the university denied claiming it had built the robot and described the backlash as a propaganda campaign. We would like to clearly state that the robotic programming is part of our endeavour to make students learn AI programming and develop and deploy real-world skills using globally available tools and resources, given developing AI talent is need of the hour, the university said. The incident is being seen as an embarrassment for the organisers of the summit, as the video was also shared on IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnawa's official X account. The post has since been deleted. India's IT Secretary S. Krishnan said the controversy should not overshadow the work put in by other participants at the summit. The India AI Impact Summit, inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Bharat Mandapam on Monday, is being pitched by the government as a flagship gathering to position India as a global AI hub. Delegates from more than 100 countries, including several heads of governments, are attending, alongside industry leaders such as Sundar Pichai of Google. India's Yotta Data Services will spend over $2 billion on NVIDIA's latest chips to set up an artificial intelligence computing hub as it prepares to float its shares, it said this week, delivering a boost to the country's fledgling AI drive. After concluding the mother of all trade deals with the European Union, and also what's now being termed the father of all trade deals with the United States, despite grave concerns remaining about the asymmetric nature of the interim agreement, which many say is stacked heavily in favour of the US, India has now also agreed to start talks for a deal with the Six-Nation Gulf Cooperation Council bloc, accounting for 15% of its global trade. While directionally positive, these deals are hardly a silver bullet for faster exports growth and won't substitute for deeper trade reform, say experts. The success of any free trade agreement lies in how it is utilised, and India has historically exhibited a low utilisation rate of only about 25%, in contrast to a level of 70 to 80% among developed economies. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit, that is because for many Indian exporters, especially small companies, the burden of paperwork, audit risks, and a lack of understanding of FTA provisions often outweigh tariff benefits. Kiran Kotler, CEO of Dista, a company which helps facilitate exports compliance and documentation for brands, said the biggest gaps are around the complexity of rules of origin requirements, high documentation costs, non-tariff barriers such as testing and labelling rules, and inconsistent customs interpretation. Many exporters technically qualify for lower tariffs, but still pay full duties because providing eligibility is slow, risky, or expensive, he added. According to Singapore-based Asia Decoded think tank, all major Asian exporters, including Malaysia, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, have outperformed India in terms of compounded exports growth in the last decade. While India has worked hard to gain a foothold in high-tech manufacturing, making iPhone for the likes of Apple, it lags behind the others when it comes to textiles, footwear, furniture, and other low-value added goods, which are the more labour-intensive. Now that the FTAs are done and dusted, the focus in Delhi will have to shift towards streamlining these problems, experts say. India has begun easing its restrictions on buying Chinese equipment after a deadly 2020 border clash, allowing state-run power and coal companies to start limited imports as shortages and project delays mount. This is the first significant easing of 5-year curbs that have largely shut Chinese firms out of India's $700 billion to $750 billion government contract market. Since the 2020 clash, New Delhi has required Chinese bidders to register with a government panel and secure political and security clearances before competing for any state contract. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated BNP leader Tariq Rahman, the 60-year-old dynast, on a decisive victory as the Bangladesh National Party swept to a landslide in the general elections last Friday. He pledged India's support for a democratic, progressive and inclusive neighbour. He also added that he looked forward to working closely to strengthen our multifaceted relationship. The tone was forward-looking and careful since Sheikh Hasina fled to India after the Gen Z-led July 24 uprising. Ties between the neighbours have been frayed, with mistrust hardening on both sides. Hasina's Awami League, the country's oldest party, was barred from contesting the election. And finally, nearly 4 decades after it first aired on India's state broadcaster, Doordarshan, a restored version of In Which Annie Gives It Those Ones, the 1989 television film, written by Booker Prize-winning author Arundhati Roy, is set to receive its world premiere in the Berlinale Classics section of the 2026 Berlin International Film Festival. The Film Heritage Foundation, which initiated its restoration, will also release the film in select theatres across India in March, pricing tickets low to attract younger viewers. Often described as India's first English-language feature, Annie occupies a singular place in the country's cinema history. Local in texture yet cosmopolitan in voice, modest in scale yet exacting in its writing. And that's all from me. You have been listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.